like a quiet echo. Your hand slowly whispering me under, heartbeat sing so distant under. Soft cards pull me in, and you drift, and you swim, and you tide, I disappear. Say you won't keep me here.
What's going on, guys? Happy Saturday. Hopefully, y'all having a good Saturday. If you're watching this, if you're tuning in right now, you may be tuned in to probably one of the best opportunities you might ever get in 2026. Hear me out when I'm saying this. If you're a trader right now and you're looking to make big money, if you're looking to become profitable, if you're looking to just get your edge to just find yourself in this and make it, I'm your guy, and this is what you want to be tuned into right here, right now. So I'm gonna go over pretty much my Friday, right? My trades on Friday, how we caught some of these really good moves, and also how I am profitable, how I killed it this week. Even though this week was a pretty difficult week, I only took one loss, and that was on, I believe, SPY calls, I think on Wednesday. Hit our 25-30% stop loss, and that was the only loss that I took. Everything else either went over 100%, went 70%, 50%, or over 200%. Regardless, it's really good risk management, and that's what I'm trying to get at. So if you are watching this right now, you are tuned into one of the best, and I mean best, opportunities you will be able to get and learn from. I don't see anyone else on Twitter that's streaming weekends, streaming during the week, that's streaming and telling you guys step by step how they're doing this. And that's why I think I'm so special, is because not only am I calling out the trades, you know, doing it, calling it out, winning on them. I'm doing it live as well. I'm typing it out. I'm taking the trade. I'm winning on it. All that, you have to have a certain type of skill and just kind of wherewithal of knowing what's going on. And so, this is why you don't see a lot of people explaining their trades or doing things, because a lot of times, there's no rhyme or reason behind what they're doing. So if you're watching this, you're tuned into probably one of the best opportunities that you anything for this year. I swear, anything. A lot of people won't teach you how to make money. I'm about to teach you how to make money. So first things first, let's go over it. Friday's trades. First thing first, we caught Tesla right out the gate, right here. This is what I'm talking about right here. When I say we catch these type of explosions every single morning, these are what we look for, right? And if we don't catch it, then there wasn't one, right? We're always looking for this type of explosion. We're looking for a move out or below our zones, Regal Cap zones. Well, so today was Tesla, right? Friday, right? It opened up inside the zone. Green shows buyers. So we knew that likely they're going to push out of this. They broke the 439.85 level, which is the top of that kind of level right there. Kind of the end of that zone, right? We push out of it. Once we push out of it, we know buyers are defending. Anytime we get into this area, we see the buyers defending. Notice how it got to the bottom of the zone. Notice where it wicked, but notice the bodies. The bodies held. And notice that they held that bottom level, pushed it all the way back to the top right there. You can see that. So if you can just understand that, yes, I have two levels here, the 436.30 and the 439.85. You need to understand that I found these levels, or spotting these levels. I don't know where exactly they're going to hold this in this area, so that's why I kind of create this area of buying interest, because at any point they can hold it. They could have held it midway like this and pushed it out. They could have tested all the way to the bottom, depending on how kind of I would say strong the sellers are, and vice versa. If we will look at the vice versa, but for right now, we're just talking about this demand. So at open, pre-market, we're above it, right? It gapped out of it overnight there. It was inside of it going into Friday. It gapped out of it. Pre-market pretty much told us buyers are here and they're defending pretty nicely. They're above it all pre-market, not much movement. Opened up inside of it, ripped out of it, caught my attention, slam calls. We took the 447.5s, right? 447s and a half. The reason why I went with that strike was because I would expect that the last level for it to touch, it could go higher, but the last level I would expect it to try and go to is 447.91. So that would put, if it got the whole move or more, that would put those calls that we took in the money. Now, I see a lot of traders, I would say, doing this wrong because they're looking at the wrong contracts or they're buying the wrong contracts. Reasons why I didn't go 447 plus, 450s, why I didn't go 460s, 470s, why I didn't go super cheap was because that's so unrealistic for Tesla to end up making that move. Let's get on the hourly here, right? This demand has been holding the last few days, right? We've been in this area. This did the same exact move the day before. It gapped up into it, held, push, hit only the 445, right? And then the other day, let's see what day was that, these 12. Notice how this one was a perfect move where it went zone to zone, held above the 439, this green zone right here, pushed all the way to our 454 up there. I did not expect us to hit that. I would expect us to hit 445, 447, maybe that 450 up there, maybe. Notice how on the 9th, so that Friday, it did almost hit that 449, but did go above 447. So looking at this blasting up on Friday, we're playing lottos. I'm not going to chance it. I'm not going to say, hey, or get greedy and be like, hey, this is going to rocket all the way to 460 plus. No, I am going to assume that this move right here is going to be the average of kind of these moves. And it was. This hit around 447. Notice how it's pretty much the average of those moves, which is all good. Exactly what I wanted. Our calls ran over 120%. Even if you got in after me, you still would have made over 100% easily. You probably would have got a better feel than me if you got in after me, because right when I got in, it dumped a little bit and then rocketed. So plenty of time for you to get in. And that was our first trade of Friday that we alerted to the team, that I alerted to the team. Pretty good move on that. Now, the other trade that we were already holding was NVIDIA. We took NVIDIA calls the day before out of this demand. We caught this same exact move at open. Really good move right here. Blasted out of demand. We banked off that beautifully, and that's where that trade kind of came in right there. Trim, and beautiful, right? But we ended up rolling up to a second position once we kind of held this kind of blue level right here. We got above it. We ended up taking calls right here, got to move all the way up to 189. I was expecting us to hit our 190, 191 zone. We've played this zone so many times. We played this area so many times. So we knew that if we closed above or in this area, we would at least come touch that if we didn't already touch it. So we trimmed some on the second calls. We held there. We went a week out, so we had plenty of time. It didn't expire the next day. We held the last few into the next day, and you can see what happened on the next day. We gapped up and right it open. We rocketed to that 190 zone, and we sold the last of those calls. That went perfectly. So beautiful. Wrist off, as we know, sellers are up there, and notice how it went zone to zone. Ate that, came down all the way there. The reason why it did that was because sellers are up there, buyers are here. Notice they're defending. Easy stuff. The reason why as well is we saw a SPY and QQ dump, right? And this was the unofficial but last play for Friday that I did call out. I did slam the 623 puts in this area right here, right? We opened up, we rejected 624 up here, and we're already starting the gap, already slammed those puts. Got them for $80 and they went over 390. So you could have turned, I slammed 10 of them. So you could have turned $890 all the way to $3,000, almost $4,000. That's the craziest thing of them all. And so this right here, again, this is nothing different than what we catch on the daily, right? This hourly, this huge move, this right here is exactly like the Tesla. It's exactly like the move we catch. Why is that? Well, because it's the same thing like Tesla played this morning, but the opposite. We played the rip out or below, or rejection out of the zone below. Now it's the same thing, up or down, right? You have to be ambidextrous with it. You could just only stick to one direction, but you're limiting yourself if you're sticking to one direction and waiting for, kind of that upside move. Friday would have been a little bit different because you could have got both sides for sure. But again, like I did, I went both sides, and sometimes I forget. I say this out loud, and sometimes I forget. I'm 9, 10 years into trading here. Um, yeah, being able to trade up and down both sides in the same day did not come the first year. Did not come. Being able to acquire that skill in a few months' time. It takes years of cultivating, and everyone's different. It took me a little bit to get it down. You might get it down faster than others. It might take you a little bit longer than others. It's okay. The fact is, if you know this information, you're already ahead of 99% of everyone out in this world. This right here, right? You take in the 623 puts. The reason why I went 623 put lotto puts, why is that? Reason why I went with that, they're reasonably priced, right? $89 when I got filled. Again, I was expecting a move to eat this whole gap, which ended up ending around right here, which is 622. So those puts would go in the money, and those would be over $150, almost maybe $200. So I'd get over 100% at minimum. Now, say we come down, which I knew we would, to hit my 621 level. And we did. We perfectly hit that on that 15. They tried to defend it, and they got slapped down. This would have been second entry for puts if you weren't still holding the first ones or couldn't get filled on the first ones. This would have been real entry because we are still inside of another gap from the day before. That right there, we're on two different gaps. We hit this gap yesterday or on Thursday, and it didn't fill it all the way. So we are sitting on two types of gaps. And notice where we ended up reversing, right? Of course, we have demand down here, our target, we have, trend line and our 619 level. Regardless, the gap ended there. And so we hit that. All that was recipe for a bounce. That's why I called it out in Discord or in my members chat. Hey, gap is closed. Do not be chasing puts down here. Careful what's puts down here. And some members did slam calls for that move all the way back up, and they caught low of day, which is absolutely beautiful because they know gap fills because of how much I've been teaching them. They know that if they miss the sell-off, it's okay, that when the gap fills, there's going to be a sharp reversal, and there always is. This was an hourly candle on the move up. So from 619, 618 area all the way up to 622, they pretty much caught that V shape right back up. Again, you're banking 100%, you're banking 50, 150, 100%, whatever it is, on some cheap lottos, you're definitely doing it. So, again, having your strategy and knowing what to do with it is where you make a lot of money. If you're watching this right now, comment on the stream, on the tweet. Shout out to the Twitch people, but I'm talking to right now the X people, everyone on Twitter. Comment on the stream right now. Comment DM if you want me to DM you my favorite indicators that I use that are going to help you. My favorite indicators. So just comment or reply to the stream. It doesn't have to be in the stream chat, but to the tweet, just comment DM if you want me to DM you my favorite indicators that I use that help me. Even if, you feel like you aren't catching this, the indicators will help you do that. So comment on that. If not, show some love, retweet the stream, like it, share, whatever you guys want. Let's keep getting into it here. This is, again, information that's going to change your life. I'm telling you, this is exciting. This is why I do this on the weekends. This is why I love, being able to kind of keep giving back and helping out and just give my all to my members. And then, of course, anyone that's not a member, I still try and show some love and things like that. So pretty cool stuff there as well. If you want my trades, guys, swap.com/Rigo Capital. Guys, sign up. You get access to the trade channel. You get access to my wins. I mean, again, we've been on fire. We caught IWM for a massive win as well. Those NVIDIAs worked perfectly. Those Teslas absolutely banged. And so, again, if you want some help on just winning, knowing, it's sometimes easier to be able to follow along and make money and then be like, all right, well, why did you do that? And of course, I post personal videos to the members in chat, Fridays or, over the weekends on, kind of why I went about some of these trades and just explain in depth how I'm doing it right now. So pretty cool stuff. And if you have questions about, what to sign up for, we can go over that. RigoCap membership, again, you're getting access to the Trade Alert channel. Of course, you're getting access to a lot of just Discord, right? Member stuff, my zones, Regal Cap zones. So for, every night I'm posting SPY and QQ game plans, right? Target down here, target up here. If we cross this, we slam calls. We cross that, we slam puts. These are the game plans that I use and that I alert in the channel. So you already have the jump and you already have the blueprints of it, of what I'm about to do, and then you just got to go with me. Of course, access to high conviction setups. These are just my high conviction setups right here where I post, and you guys, oof, if you can get access to that, I'm telling you, every single one I post is a banger, 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 banger. And to give a little insights, if you're watching on the main Twitter, those are very similar to the ones that I already kind of post where it's the banger alert ones. I just give an in-depth ones and tell you which contract and just give a way better explanation than just kind of a rough kind of estimate. I give you, another chart. I give you my actual chart, and then I give you contracts I'm looking for, I'm ready to go for, and then of course you're going to get my alert when I'm in it. So even crazier stuff. Now, if you're looking to take it to the next level, top membership, everything members get, but you get my live trading sessions, which is a game changer, right? Live trading sessions are amazing because there's no wait time, right? I'm like, hey guys, I'm eyeing Tesla here. Tesla's getting ready to rip. Tesla's ripping now. Let's get into it. Let's go, let's go. And I'm eyeing the 447s. Let's get into it. All right, I'm getting filled here at exactly $110. You're getting my entry as, if not better. And then you're getting my exits as we're pushing out. All right, we hit 445. I'm trimming here. All right, up 75%, 80%, 100%. I'm all out. Leave a runner. I'm giving my insights. All right, I think this is going to keep moving, stuff like that. So if you want that next level, and on top of that, you get one-on-one mentorship with me at any time. So all the top tier is probably one of the best because you get everything member related. You get my live trading. And then you get one-on-one mentorship of just, we break down whatever you need. So pretty cool stuff there. And we look for these moves. This is what I'm talking about. These are the type of moves we look for every morning, and we catch, these nonstop. And that's how you really grow an account. You're looking for those explosive kind of moves there, right? NVIDIA, ripping out like, man, and these are some of the moves, and even this NVIDIA like shooting down there again. Even though we didn't play this one, we ended up playing a different play. I saw this one and I did love this because there was a gap at 181. So $3 drop plus $3 drop right there. You're making money. You're making money, and you're not even questioning it because the moves are so drastic and dramatic that you're catching it like crazy with me. It's awesome. Like there's no better way to describe it. High conviction, just playing our levels, playing the zones, and just understanding where you are with those levels. So that's the big thing about it as well. Just understanding your charting, trusting your charting. So a lot of you guys are probably wondering, well, how do I catch those moves? All right, Rico, how do I catch those moves? I'm not committed to signing up, becoming a member. How do I catch those moves without you? Okay. And that's a pretty loaded question, I think, but it's a real question, right? Real question. Well, the thing is, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be super tough because you need somebody that's going to, take off the blindfold to these moves. Once you understand that, a lot of these names do move like this. All right, well, then how do I get closer on catching it, right? How do I get closer on finding, some of these rip out moves like this, like us playing QCOM and this a move. And then the next day you could have played it right back down, which is even insane. How do we catch these moves? And the best thing is you just need to get better at charting. And so if you have that same question of, well, how do I get better at charting? Again, there's more underlying things that you're lacking before you even get to this, right? If you think about it, like the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi didn't have, oh boy, just start, doing karate and fighting people. Bro was wax on, wax off his car. Like dude was running errands before he was even doing any of in the field stuff. And that's probably the same thing I would be telling you guys. Before you really get in the field and you say you're new to this, I would say don't even get in the field. You need to be back testing. You need to be figuring out the market. And this is just how I did it, right? I spent years in the market winning, losing, winning, and trying to make sense of it, right? I'm like, okay, I'm winning big on some of these plays. And then on the same plays, I'm losing on them because I can't differentiate when a failed breakout is, or when something's going to hit a level, or when something's going to reverse, or when a failed breakdown is. How do I? And that was a question where I had to ask myself. I couldn't ask anybody. I couldn't ask ChatGPT. There's nobody to ask. Okay, well, how do I do that? Well, then I spent time like I'm doing right now, and I hit the charts. How could I have figured this out? How could I have done that? And the best thing I did was, again, just look at the charts. How is this? How? Okay, what's lining up? Okay, we saw QQ dump off here. QQ reversed for the day after the push up. It had a gap, double gap, ate the gap. Okay, that's why NVIDIA ended up hitting supply and sellers stepped in. Puts could have worked up there. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, Tesla ripped out at open, showed a lot of strength. Okay, it did hit some of its levels and then reversed back into demand. Well, okay, because SPY and QQ did the same exact thing. Okay, so then it turned into, all right, I'm winning on Apple. I'm winning on these names, but I'm not tracking SPY and QQ. That was my first big mistake and my first big breakthrough. Okay, I need to be tracking SPY and QQ. Okay, now that I'm tracking SPY and QQ, as long as they're green on the day, I know I can play Apple for the breakout, right? Wrong. Again, you got to be able to understand, well, are they about to hit a resistance? Is SPY and QQ about, at a demand? Where are they at? It wasn't just, okay, they're green or red on the day, right? Oh, bless me. So I was like, okay, so then, how do I do that? So then it turned into, okay, SPY and QQ are ripping. All right, then I know I can play my Amazon. And then Amazon is the one that does nothing for the day. And every other name ran up or down or did exactly what I thought they would, especially SPY and QQ. So then that turned into, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. Why am I not just trading SPY and QQ if I know what they're doing? If I was right on their direction and would have been right on the contracts, then why am I touching Amazon? So then that was the major breakthrough where I was like, okay, if I'm going to be trading SPY and QQ, then I need to stare at these and figure out how I can make sense of these and trade them 24/7. That's where the zones came into play, RioCap zones. And then once that evolved, I quickly realized, oh, okay, it's not just SPY and QQ, it's all these names. I can chart better. I got better at charting. I got better at, and I was already good at charting, but I got better. I can always get better. I can continue to get better, even right now, 2026. I definitely want to get better at everything I do, trading, option selection, just cultivating my wins, and I'm getting better, and it's awesome. And one way for me to do that is to speak things out loud and go over it like this. This helps me a lot too. I'll give you like, hey, I could have banked heavier on QQ. Yes, I could have held it all the way down there for the diamond hands. I could have taken 300%. Did I take less? Sure. Did I only get 100? I'm not gonna nitpick, but I still want to get better. And the hardest part is mastering those emotions with it. So that's the craziest part, right? It's hard. $890 turning into 4K, doing that in 1 hour. It's literally, this is just 1 hour, 4 15-minute candles. Craziest thing, right? Done by 9:30 my time, 10 a.m. Most people are barely waking up. Most people are, barely getting into their job, or they're already starting their work, or maybe, knee deep already in their workday. Again, you making 3K is in an hour work is absolutely insane, like for anybody. And no one's ever taught me how to make money. So that's why I'm here today, to teach you how to make money. And this is exactly how I do it. So first things first, when it comes to actually, some of this information is you can get this up or down right. You can get the direction right. There's 3 things you need to get right in order, 2 things out of 3 that you need to get right in order for you to win on a trade. One of them is direction, right? You got to get the direction right, obviously. And the next one is entry or exit. You have to get that right for the most part, but that's going to be very questionable. And then the third one is option selection. 2 of those 3 you can get right, and one of them you don't have to get right, and you will still win on them. And can you guess what it is? And if you guessed, if it was, if you guessed entry or exit as the one that you don't really need to get right, you'd be right, because you really don't need to really. Have you ever had a trade where your entry was completely sloppy and you still won on the trade, or an exit was completely sloppy, you still won on? I would hope the exit wasn't sloppy, but you exited early, you still won on the trade, but it kept going, and you're like, damn, that's what I mean. You could easily get. There's no perfect entry on exit. Yes, you will have some perfect trades where you perfectly got out the top or you perfectly got in at the bottom. There will be those. But again, you don't need to get that right every single trade for you to win. You do need to get direction right. If you slammed calls here at open, or I got faked out at open there on Friday, yeah, you would have lost that trade. Actually, if you would have no hesitated slam calls at open from 624.62 to 626, you would have made some money. Now, would you have taken the 20, 30, 40% you would have got? Most people wouldn't. They would have been like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to, this is working perfect. I'm going to my target. Nope. And I got slammed on. So, most people don't have a system. My system is trimming into the move. I'm taking that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, stops to a buy. And the thing is, going in with size helps with that, right? Because if I went in with 50 contracts and it moved $10 a contract, I'm up $500 already. If I go in with 30 contracts and it moves $10, 20%, and I'm up $600 already, that's what I'm talking about. And so that's what I say, trim into the move. But anyways, direction, right? Got it wrong, you would have got dunked on, you would have lost, right? Say option selection, right? Now, this one's I would say you have to get it right, but depending on the move. Let's just go with, you went calls at open. Say you went something right in the money, at the money, you would have won on this. You would have got 20, 30, 40, 50%. You would have won on that. And it all depends on your exit, whatever. You would have won on that option selection. Say you slammed this and you went to 630s because they're super cheap, right? You're $4 out the money. You're $6 out the money, $4 out the money at the high here. They only moved $10 a contract, and then you got dunked on and lost. Again, option selection, very important. That's why I went something I know was realistic when I slammed those puts. I knew that if I'm slamming up here at 624, that we're going in the money at 623, my strike. Even if it just ended up holding here, not even finishing the rest of the gap or this dump, they would still go at the money. So I know I would still, make some money out there. And that's really the craziest thing. We out here definitely learning. Appreciate y'all showing up. So yeah, I would say direction, you need to nail that. Entry exit doesn't need to be nailed, but it needs to be up there as far as getting that down. And option selection. Stop trying to go far out the money. Why are you looking at options, super far out? Look, I get it. They're a little bit juiced. Sometimes when you see, one day expirations and you see that they're in 200, especially with QQ, a little bit juiced. I get that. Then size down, size down. Go something, take less contracts, but go something more closer in the money or at the money. Don't sacrifice the move by going further out the money with the contracts because you want a big move. That's just the greed getting into. At that point, your emotions and your greed are already overshadowing the trade. You're not even thinking about it. You're not even thinking about the trade. You're like, I'm slamming the 618s because they're $10 right now. And what happens if we come down all the way to 618? Well, you would have won on that, but I want to say 9 times out of 10, you probably wouldn't have won. You wouldn't have won on that. It's just, how many times do we have a double gap that's going to shoot us right into it? And to be honest, this was kind of slow too, the way they were doing this. It does look pretty drastic the way it knifed. But when I was in this trade, oh my God, they were really messing with me. I just hate lottos sometimes. The lottos were just jumping like water. It was up, down, 1 10-cent wick, and they're moving $10 in each direction and $5. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. But again, if you're a newer trader, I would not even suggest be doing that at all. It's the craziest thing. But again, getting down the move, getting down the direction, getting down the option selection, getting down entry and exit. Just just focusing on that. You make a lot of money. Again, this is the type of move right here. It makes a lot of money, and it does. It's a lot of money. I focus on setups like this. I focus on setups like this, right? I focus on, moves that are going to, explode and give, those huge moves. Huge, huge, huge. Straight out of demand flag, blasted out. We gapped out. Again, these are the moves that, I look for. Exactly what I'm looking for. Now, it's tough to be able to teach this unless you're already experienced in the market, experienced losing, experienced charting, experience, been there, done that. That's why I say a lot of my, my services here, when kind of newbies or like new traders that are like, hey, I'm looking to get into trading, what can I do? How can I sign up? All that stuff. And I'm just like, you don't want to sign up for my service. You don't want to sign up for my service. We're already running over here. We're running. Like we're already, doing it. We're doing the thing. We're making it happen. Like we're in the Olympics with this shit. Like you're just trying to get into the sport. We're already in the Olympics here. Like this is top level shit. We're at the top here. This is it. Like there's no getting better than this. Like this is, I mean, not better, but I mean, there's no difficulty higher than this. Like this is the big leagues. Like this is it right here. When new traders try and come to me, I point them to education first. I'm like, hey, I have a lot of streams. I have a lot of YouTube stuff. I have a lot of videos on YouTube that you can go watch for free. And then you can decide, is this really for me? Because if this really is for you, then, you're going to need to learn this. And then I start pointing them in the right direction. And then when you're ready, come back to me. Then if you want to take the training wheels off, then I say, start with a little bit of money, $100, $200, $300 at most. I started with $200 back in the day. $200 was a lot of money to me back then. I started with $200. I ran that up to $2K. I think that was the most, $2,000. I had more money in my trading account than I did in my bank account. And that was like that for, I want to say that was like that for the first 3 years. 3 years. I had really all my money in my trading account. I didn't care. As long as my bills were paid, I had thousands in my trading account, but 700, 400, 200, however much money in my bank account. It was absolutely crazy. My trading account saw the most amount of money I've ever had before my bank account did. That was just the way I was living. I was like, dude, I can make more money with the money in my trading account than it would be in my bank account. What do I need it in my bank account for? Crazy thing. So I tell that to, trade. And so a lot of times when I tell that to traders, I shoo them away. I'm like, you're not ready for this. This is level 10. You're on level 1. And if they come back, okay, we'll do this now. Go do this. Okay. Now start watching this. Watch my streams. Okay. You're getting it down. All right. And then I kind of work with them a little bit on one-on-one. Well, what would you do here? Okay. Now, if you're a part of the team, would you be able to understand it to where if I called out, NVIDIA, if I called out, QQ, if I called out, IWM, are you going to be able to turn around and take the trade and know what to do with it? Are you going to be able to know what trimming means, right? Selling, exiting, things like that. Are you going to know that? A lot of times, once I start pushing, giving a little bit of pushback, people are like, maybe I really don't want to do this. But there are people that I've done that to in real life too. Shout out to my boy Anthony. People in real life, and shout out to my boy Cody too. These are people that I've met and known in real life. These are people, Jay as well. Shout out to Jacob. Like, yeah, I have people in real life that I was like, they found me and they're like, yo, I've been seeing you killing it for years. And I'm like, no, you don't want a part of this. All right, you want a part of this? Let's go. And after I shoo some of these people away, there's plenty of there's my girl Ali. Like, there's so many people that I know where I'm like, you don't want to do this, and they're like, I do. Okay, then let's go. They join my service, and they're like, dude, I'm like, you're killing it. Like, I'm learning so much. Like, I'm winning with you. Like, this girl Ali, like she would see all my posts and stuff, and then one day she just messaged me and she was just like, hey, I've been trading and I haven't been doing really well. Like, she was down like 9K. I was like, holy shit, like what are you doing? how long have you been doing this? And why are you down 9K? Like that's way too much, And this girl's got kids. This girl, grinding, I'm just like, hey, like this is tough. I was like, I don't like you already have a busy schedule. Are you sure this is what you want to be doing? She was like, yes, like I love this. I don't like I love my job, but I want to be able to make money like you make money and do this. I'm like, all right, well, tell me what you know. Well, she already knows enough to be able to lose in a position. That means she knows enough to be able to win in a position. Okay. I was like, all right, then if you really want to join up and I'll keep my eye on you and let's see what we can do. And she's like, all right. From there, she's been killing it. Anytime she can catch a trade with me when she's not busy, she's winning on it. And she's just one of those people that are like, dude, I just needed to get into a winning trade. I'm always going to take my profit. Like, I don't care if it's 10%. I don't care if it's 50%. I don't care if it's 100%. Anytime I get into a trade after you, I know I always make money and I'm going to take it. It's up to me to take it. Right. She's like, I don't even listen to you when you exit. I get in, I make my money. And that's what I'm looking forward to and doing. And that's the best part about it. I'm like, okay, beautiful. Like that's awesome. You move on with your day, you make your money and there you go. And then of course I have other friends that are like, dude, I've been doing this, let me just see what you're about. First time they joined, they're like, dude, I'm already a decent trader, but like something that or you got that like is just gonna help me go to the next level. And they're literally the next day, my boy was like, dude, that was the first time I had $1,000 day. Second day, that was the first time I had a $2,000 day. Third day is like, dude, you're insane. Like you're literally insane. So again, like I think it's just being able to show people a different way than anything else, because a lot of times people don't have the time and effort to be putting into figuring out this puzzle of what the market is. And that's what it is. It's a puzzle. I like solving things. Not a huge problem solver, but I like solving my problems. I like solving problems that involve money. That's probably the best way I can describe it, and probably why I did so well in my business calculus class, or in other a lot of other math classes that involved money in college that were just so worthless now that I think about it. Cause like I've never used any of that shit, to this day. So beautiful, right? Awesome. Shout out to wasting my time there. Well, I don't know if it was a waste of time, but whatever. Point is, being able to solve that and help people is probably, some of the best. And that's why I do it. And that's why I'm like, hey guys, I want you guys to ask me as many questions as you can, because some of this is very confusing. And, one things why I see people or traders lose is because they think they know more than the market. They think they're bigger than the program. You're not bigger than the program. Um, and again, one thing is how I even understand that is asking people stop losses. What do you think about stop losses? Oh, I don't use stop losses. Oh, I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't respect stop losses. Then I can help you because you have an ego that's too big that you think you cannot be wrong. That you think you cannot be wrong in a ever-changing market that is just a machine, right? Because again, we're trading against some of the most bright individuals in the world on the other side of that trade. For you to win a trade, someone's got to lose the trade, right? Someone's got to sell you that position that you're winning on, and vice versa. It's the craziest thing. And so again, why do I respect my rules so much? Is because I have no problem being wrong. I have no problem saying, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what happens. I have no problem at all being able to sit back and assess the situation and be like, okay, now it's time to attack, right? I don't need to be like, oh, we're going this, we're doing that. I called it, this. No, who cares? I don't care about sounding smart or being smart. I care about making money. I care about putting money in my bank account. I care about trades. I care about solving that daily problem of what is the market doing today and how we can make money off it. That's what I care about. I care about who cares how people I hope people can think I'm the dumbest ever, whatever. I don't care because I'm going to live my best life knowing I know some information here about the market that 99% of people in the world will never know this. Would never know. But we all got different strategies and changing and when it comes to, trading, everyone's got different strategies and things like that. We all don't know the same information. How we compartmentalize things and how we kind of, I would say, understand things are all on a different scale. And And reality is subjective a little bit. However, but this is what I do. I live and breathe this, and I love this. So I think that's the best thing that I could really explain. And when it comes to, I would say, finding your own strategy, I would say find what works for you. And what I mean by that is, why am I the king of the open? Well, when I first started trading and I quit my job and I was now in this weird position of, you know, I'm only trading, right? I'm only at this point making enough money to where, I live by myself. I've already been living by myself. I live by myself. I'm out of college. I don't have like a day-to-day routine other than just going to the gym and trading. I don't have a job. I'm making my money in the market. Okay, so then how can that work with me? Well, I like making my money early and I like getting it done and I like moving on with my day. I liked at the time, like I wanted to hit the gym for a few hours. I like to be able to rest whenever. I like to be able to eat however, clean and healthy and put money into that, effort into that. And so I spent like 2 years making my money early off the bat, straight out the open, first hour like usual, and then would go to the gym, right? 2.5 hours after market open, I'm at the gym for about 3 hours. Then I come back and watch the kind of close, I would say the last hour, while I'm, eating food and seeing if there's a swing setting up for the next day. That's how I would do things. And half the time I would enter a swing, other half I wouldn't, depending on if it's set up, and, bank off it. And that's how I was living for 2 years. Now, the thing is that was, I'm not, I just felt like I had a lot of I can do more. I feel like I can do a lot more. And I needed a little bit more fulfillment. It just felt like all I was doing was trading, making money, and then hitting the gym. I was already jacked. I'm already in shape, been in shape. And I'm like, how can I go further? Like, this is getting boring now. None of my friends can hit the gym at 10 in the morning. I only made friends with the people that are already at the gym, right? The regulars that are already there at 10 in the morning. I'm wondering what the fuck they do for a living, because how are you here every single day in the morning? I would have to assume you guys somehow work nights, but then if you work nights, how are you here in the morning? I don't know. I stopped questioning it. I'm there to work out type. And so again, none of my friends could be eating brunch with me on a random Wednesday at, noon. So no one was even living the lifestyle I was living. So I was like, if no one else is living how I'm living, then what is the point of this? Right. And like, it's starting to get a little lonely here. So best thing I did, I think from there, that's when I started teaching people. Because of course I had friends, I had people that are like, yo, put me on. How are you doing this? I'm like, I can't even explain it to you. Like, I was in those stages, like I probably couldn't even explain it. I can try, but I could just do it for you, right? I could just tell you to enter calls here and puts here and, do this, do that. That's really about it. And around that time, that market was way easier. And this was before the zones. I created the zones too, which is even crazier. But, around that time, I was just playing individual names, tech, usually big tech, anything that was popping really at that time. And kind of going from there, really just going from there. So there was a different market too, as well. That was the cool thing about it. But yeah, so again, from there, I was like, man, I got to do more. So, that's why I ventured off into other things, right? In real estate, in other business ventures that, keep me busy and I can have that schedule and things like that. Again, all that's going to take time. If you're somebody that's working a full-time job, keep working your full-time job. But I want you to master your second full-time job, which is this. If you want to be serious about this, you got to be showing up to the market every single day, even if you don't trade. Even if you don't trade, you're looking for that move. You're looking for that explosion. You're looking for that, for those moves with me. That's gonna really get it until you can get it by yourself, and then from there, then you can really start. I would say from there you can really start making better. I don't know, give yourself better options as far as your day to day on what you want to do. Some people want to keep working and trade and do all these other things. That's awesome. Some people just want to trade full time and live that experience. I say go for it too. Right. Sometimes, we're not all meant to be working 9 to 5. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people want to escape it. I get you. I'm here to help any of those that want to escape it, or I'm here for those that work their 9 to 5 and want to keep working their 9 to 5 and want to keep trading and want to keep, doing that. All stages, I'm here for you. And I don't see anybody else on stream or on Twitter that are just giving out the sauce and giving out things like that. I see a lot of people that are, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't really see a lot of people. I know I follow a decent amount of people, but I don't really see people streaming and just being like, "Hey, like this is how I do it. There you go. This is what I'm looking for. There you go." And then explain in depth or like their strategy and stuff like that. A lot of times, people try to make their strategy more complicated than it is, or they talk about it in a very severe, complicated way. I don't know. I don't know why. I try and make it super simple, and how simple can it be? Where how much more simpler can I make this? Where green zone buyers buy, green buy, easy, right? Uh, red zone sell, red bad, red, boom, right? Easy. Doesn't get kind of any easier than that, I would say. Very, very pretty easy. Now, IWM, this is interesting. I'm watching this going into Monday or Tuesday. Markets closed Monday. I liked how IWM technically opened up on this breakout here on the hourly. It opened up on the hourly above the breakout zone. Now, I'm glad I wasn't paying attention when this happened, because I probably would have gone for this. But when I caught it after my alert went off, because I had chart alerts up here, when it went off, it was already knifing. And so I thought that was very strange. The crazy thing is the 4 hour opened up above it. So higher time frames opening above this on a breakout is very, very strange. Anytime we've seen that, we usually and they dump it, they usually scoop it and push it right back. So once I saw that and it started dumping, I was like, I could go for it here and swing it into next week, but I was like, nah, why would I do that when we'll have a better entry going into Tuesday or next week? So I'm not worried about it at all, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on this. I just want to see how this kind of works out here, because that was very interesting. Failed breakout, possibly. Fake out, possibly. We will see. I don't like that. IWM has been on a ripper here, into new all-time highs since the beginning of January. Just been rocketing. I mean, from 245 to 266. Absolutely crazy. Maybe the timing, maybe it's over. Maybe this is done for IWM. I don't know. IWM it hasn't been the craziest. Actually, yeah, it has. Since 2025, we just been kind of moving up with the market, I'd assume. Small caps. I don't know what I'm talking about with damn IWM. I haven't taken a look at this in a while. I'm kind of more mad that I'm catching the end of this already, than and not seeing this break out. So shame on me. I should have been checking on IWM. I don't know why I have it. When I did, that's when we banked on it. So those calls went over 100% midday easy. That was pretty cool. So pretty cool stuff there. Anyways, yes, 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 yes. So that's really the nutshell on kind of these setups and things like that. I only trade big tech, right? I only trade setups that I know are gearing up for that move. And how do you know when they're gearing up for that move? One way I can give you that is this. Even without charts, go look at it. Go find a stock, and right now, just Amazon caught my eye. Notice this right here. Notice the past few days have been sideways. It's squeezing here now. We made money off this huge. I mean, this was an amazing day, right? We're tracking this since back here. Again, this is just like an example of what I'm talking about. Look at this sideways action right here, right? The example I'm saying is this. This was around Christmas, New Year's right here. Look at this sideways action. It's the same thing. Once it starts coiling up or starts squeezing, a big move is coming. Now, this was diabolical where they knifed it on the move down. I don't know what this was all about. They knifed it on the move down. Yes, you could have made money on that. The very next day, they ripped it right back up into that range and then rocketed it out. Absolutely diabolical. But again, we caught, the move up, and we caught calls on the move up, and, banked off this. We were ready for it. Again, we didn't get faked out, because when it ended up dumping, we're just like, all right, take our eyes off it. Let's see. And then the next day when it pushed out and it closed, I was like, oh yeah, this is going. And then the next day, ready for that open. And as you can see that, boom. This one was absolutely crazy because rocketed out. I'm taking the win up here as we approach, our 235 zone. That's what I was looking for. Got above that. I'm like, I'm all out. as we were approaching that 238 level. I didn't think we'd get above that, but we blasted up higher. I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll watch this for the next day. Boom, got that next move, 224, keep rolling up, winning on the calls. Easy work. So again, this is squeezing. Now, all right, we're squeezing. What's going to happen next? Well, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen next, but we do know one thing. We do know that these zones are above it, right? So this should be red. We do know that these levels are respected because we respected them a few days ago, and we've been respecting them ever since we've gotten to them. So I would say definitely this is the next move I'm looking at, and I'm looking for the upside. Because why am I looking for the upside? Well, we already sold off from this channel. We caught puts, by the way, this day on the channel break. Pulled all the way down, and we dumped off, $10+ there. And now we're kind of holding in this area. Okay, cool. Now we're sidewaysing in this area, pretty cool stuff. But let's see if it does anything, right? Let's see if we kind of flag here and then, get that, monster push up into this area. That could work. Now, what I'm really looking for here is kind of the next move up, right? Because yes, calls can work into a move into 240. It's not a big move. It could work, but we could slap it just like this and reject all the way back down. It could do it again, see that pre-market, it hit it and fell all the way back down. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So we know sellers are here. So that's the level we got to be watching to get above that. We know if we break that, we got plenty more room, at least a $4 move all the way back to 245. That's a little bit better. And we played that same day where it broke out all the way back down into the zone. So we know these levels are good. So we know we're just going to catch that same move on the move back up once it comes. Again, being prepared is just as important, right? Mentally prepared, because if you're not mentally prepared when that day comes, you're going to be caught off guard and you're not going to be ready to play. You're not going to know where your levels are at. You're not going to know where your target is. Even though, yes, it should be on your chart, you're going to be mentally not prepared. And that's probably the bigger thing about it. So for me, it's a little bit easier, I would say, being able to catch these plays, because I can be caught off guard and still win on it. And I think a prime example of that would have been Tesla. I was not prepared to play Tesla on Friday, but doing my scan, I saw it was ready to go. And I was like, okay. It's Tesla Fridays. I'm ready to play Tesla any Friday. But it wasn't like top of my mind. And once it started going, I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is it. Tesla Fridays. The reason why I call it Tesla Fridays because the contracts moved so well because lottos. But it's like we get some of the best moves on Friday. I don't know why. Pretty cool stuff, though. Anyways, yes, let me know, guys, if you have any questions or anything like that. Like I said, these are the moves we look for, that I look for every morning and that I alert. So even if you follow me and don't even get my entry, say you get an entry after me, you're going to bank regardless. So these are the plays that I look for. Absolutely. If you're thinking about signing up, WAP.com/Regal Capital, become a member. If you want to learn more about the organization, Regal Cap, you can go ahead and go to regalcap.com, learn more, read whatever, tune in. And of course, like I already explained it to you on kind of what the membership and top tier membership. Again, best way I can put it though, if you want to become a top member, you're already in the game. You're already, want to kill it more. You want to make that money, and you're ready to dive in straight into it. Top membership is for you. If you're just somebody that's, trying to get better, but maybe, you don't want to commit too much and you're just trying to learn the system and things like that, become a member. I'm telling you, it's easily some of the best money you'll be able to spend for the knowledge and be able to follow me. I promise you. But if not, it's free watching me right now on stream. Free, tune into, my streams and all of my free content on YouTube. That's a lot of education right there that you can learn. I have a lot of these where I chart and I play and I say, hey, here's my exit. This is what I look for. This is how we played it, recaps, a lot of stuff like that. And I'm telling you, that's the type of stuff that's going to get you better. Being able to kind of rewatch film, right? Rewatch kind of a replay of how things went. Because then if you've seen that, you'll be able to go into the market and be like, hey, I've seen this before. I can play this because I've seen it before off of a, Regal Cap video. So definitely tune in. And it's 2026, guys. Spend some time, lock in for, I would say spend some time, some weekends. Anytime you have downtime, just study, watch videos, look at the market, pull up Webull, pull up some of these charts and just, stare at it, get better at it, understand it, tell yourself, it's your time, learn it, run with it. And I promise you at the end of 2026, your year is going to look a crazy difference than how it begins. I promise you. So definitely. All right. So I appreciate y'all showing up 125 of y'all plus. Shout out to the Twitch people. Appreciate y'all showing up. Just wanted to jump on here and give y'all some insights on Friday, how we caught some banger plays and how I'm looking to catch more of that. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. This type of information I'm giving out, you're not going to see this anywhere on Twitter. I don't see anybody else in a manner giving it out the way I am, in a clear, crisp demeanor. I don't know. Anytime I've seen somebody even talk about some of this stuff, it's just like I can't even listen to them because, first of all, I don't even know what they're saying. That's the crazy part. If myself, I'm watching your stream, Rico Capital, watching your stream, and you're confusing me, doesn't even make sense. I'm just like, dude, I don't even know how this is even working out for you because you don't even understand it. And there's no way, to me, there's no way that you can make this more confusing than it needs to be and win on it, right? For me, I like to dumb things down when it comes to trading in the most spectacular way because in life, everything else is already more complicated as it is. Why are you trying to make your work even more complicated than it needs to be? Who cares about sounding smart? Can you turn 1 into 2? That's the thing that I'm out here about. Can you turn 1 into 2? Can you turn 1 into 5? Can you triple up? Can you double up? Can you consistently do it? Can you be consistent? Can you show people how to do it? Can you do it yourself and lead people at the same time? There's just levels. So careful who you watch and who you be around and learn from. This year is a big year ahead. And if you stay true, I promise you, you're going to have a great year. So appreciate y'all showing up. If you're showing up late, rewatch this as it's about to get posted on Twitter or wherever you're watching this. So have a good rest of y'all Saturday. I appreciate y'all showing up. Market is closed Monday. So let me know if y'all want to join or sign up for our one-on-one mentor session, guys. I'm free Sunday, Monday. Let me know. And I got you guys. We can do a one-on-one. So whatever y'all need, I got you. Let me know. And you can sign up there, wap.com/Rio Capital. Oh, also big announcement too. RioCap AI is no longer available to anyone outside of being a member. So if you're not a member, you don't get access to RioCap AI, and we got big stuff coming for RioCap AI. Tune in.